Okay,
Here
welcome
we
to the
are,
bag
for better or for
episode.
worse.
Yes.
After
Yes.
the embarrassment that was
Yes.
the Pick'ems episode on
Terrible
Saturday.
week 7. Yeah. We were pretty wrong on most of it. That 4 o'clock window was like the only thing we got right.
And even that was a little bit of a shaky one.
Yeah.
It kind of this looks like some kind of terrorist thing.
I know, that's what I was thinking too. But this is just for shame. This is the shame thing. No terrorism happening here.
I can't show my face, especially after what the Commanders did as well.
Oh yeah, that was brutal. Brutal for the Commanders.
See, the difference is the reason I don't have a mouth hole, the reason you do, is because you actually got that Patriots pick right, so you can show your face a little bit. Me, I just kind of everything went wrong.
Patriots pick saved me a little bit, but I had the whole plan. Full Stogie was ready to go if we won. The Patriots won, but then everyone else fucking lost, and I was like, oh, I can't even do the Stogie now because it's like you were right about this upset, but wrong about everything else.
What was the final tally for us? Like, what was our final record after everything?
I gained 2 on you. I went 5-7.
You went 5-7,
and you went, yeah.
Okay. So that means I went 3 and what?
3 and 9.
3 and 9.
9.
There we go. Yeah. What were the 3? I got the Browns, Steelers,
the Steelers, and let me try to locate the book and read it. Seahawks.
There we go.
Browns, Steelers, and Seahawks.
The Great Northwest.
Those were your correct ones. And I got the Patriots, the Browns, Seahawks, Steelers, and the Chiefs. So
rough.
Very rough one for sure. Another crazy week in the NFL.
Maybe the craziest week that we've seen in years. Like that was like every single game, and last night might have been the wildest one out of all of them, where there are some serious question marks now raised about the 49ers and their ability to get it done once again. And
Brock Purdy, I was gonna defend him, and then he just threw both game-winning drives just straight to the other team.
Terrible. And then now the Vikings got some juice. Like the Vikings defense actually looked pretty good.
Yeah, if the Vikings can keep it going. I think you mentioned they had an easier part of the schedule coming up. So, I mean, this is, if they catch form here, they could easily take back that division, I think, honestly.
They do, yeah. They have an easy part of the schedule coming up. I'm going to go ahead and, shall we remove them for the time being?
We can remove our shame.
No one cared who we were before we put on the brown paper bags. Let's take a look at the Vikings schedule. Once again, really emphasizing the casual part of the professional casual fans by not having those ready on hand. But here we are.
God, we got to start making graphics because I realize you can share like shit across the screen.
There we go. We can be official. We'll just have the ESPN
popping stuff up.
Just have the ESPN Chiron on the bottom.
Their graphics.
All right, so their next 5 are against the Packers in Lambeau, against the Falcons in Atlanta. Then they have the Saints coming to Minnesota, and then they go to Denver, and then they have Chicago coming to them. So to me, that's that's 5 wins right there. That's 5 games that they could easily.
Yeah, they could easily sweep that.
And in that case, they're 3-4 right now, so they will be 8-4.
Yes.
And then for the Raiders,
the Lions got coming up? The Lions got the Chargers, the Bears, the Packers, New Orleans, and the Bears again. So the Lions also have an easy schedule. It will really come down to these. In the last 3 weeks, I think they play each other twice.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm not saying, like we were just talking about earlier today, like this is the first time I feel like ever. Your lights are. You look like you look like a bad guy. You look like you're pirating a movie.
Let's see if we can.
It's like I've never felt this way before about the league, where it's like literally anybody can win any game at any given time. And I know that sounds stupid, but it feels like the most like parity we've seen maybe ever. Like it's like I can't really pinpoint one team that I think is that much better than anybody else. Like Philly had their best game of the year by far on Sunday night and made kind of a statement against Miami. But like at the same time, they
I
could
am
come out
ready
in
to
the
give
next
up.
few weeks and look terrible. They have a huge. I mean, they play us. They play Commanders next week, which should be a win for them. But after that, they have a lot of really hard games coming up, and they
Yeah,
could slip.
they do.
And yeah, I mean, it's you have no idea what's going on, and I wouldn't even be surprised if the
Now,
Niners at
talking
some
about
point. Go ahead.
Miami, that is a team I think I'm ready to give up on their Super Bowl chances.
Really?
Because they've won. Yeah, I am, because they've won against they've won against 5 bad teams. Like, I don't think any of their wins are like good wins. Like, they haven't been against like top tier teams at all. And the 2 teams that are the best, Philadelphia and Buffalo, that they played, they got smoked both times.
Yeah. Yeah, they held their own. The score didn't represent how close that game was in Philly. I don't think Philly scored that late touchdown there at the end that kind of put it away. But yeah, I mean, they've had 2 tests and 2 teams that they could very likely see. One would be in the Super Bowl if they got there, and then the other they're probably going to have to see. They're going to see them again in the regular season, and would probably see them again in the playoffs. And they looked bad on both ends. And then you look at
Yeah.
the team that, like the Bills, and the Bills go out and were pretty much handled by the Patriots. Like that game was never like the Bills somehow came back there in the last 5 minutes, but
That
like other than
fumble,
that, the Patriots
dog,
kind of dominated.
let me tell you how they're up 10, right? And like the Bills get the ball. I'm like, there's 7 minutes left in this game. I'm going to go get food. My prediction was great. They're winning. I'm getting food, and I'm like, oh, they scored. That sucks. But the Patriots can run out the clock here. And then I checked my phone again, and they're back in the red zone. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening here, New England? I was like, you're fumbling the bag so hard. And then they score again. And I get home just in time for the final drive. And let me tell you how I've hated the Patriots my whole life. But that final drive, I was like a hardcore Patriots fan. I'm like, come on, Mac! Let's fucking get it done!
And
Throws the
together,
touchdown to Jasicki, hits the Mac gritty.
I was about to say both of them
Just the
just like
fun.
combined to try and end the world by both gritting at the same time. See if they could shut down all the
Mac
grids in the
Jones's
northern
gritty
part of the
was the
United States.
funniest thing I've ever seen, though. Like that.
It's crazy. Just intentionally bad.
Yeah, it was
Crazy
hilarious. So
Washington
I know.
seems dead. Like that was one of the first losses I'd say
Dude,
that I ever felt like.
when you told me Tyrod was starting, I had a little bit of fear for you guys because for some reason I trust Tyrod more than Daniel Jones.
He's better than Daniel Jones is right now. Like he's better at like kind of diagnosing pressure. He's not trying to make it too much happen. Like he's got a backup quarterback mentality, which is kind of what you need when you're like a middling to the bottom team. Like you just need to have somebody who's just going to kind of try and make something happen. And I think he throws passes that Jones is kind of hesitant to. It also makes a big difference that they have Saquon back. But I mean, that's just embarrassing. That was like embarrassing on all fronts. Sam Howell played awful. Eric Bieniemy's game plan was the thought of him being a head coach becomes more and more like insane. And Ron Rivera, I think, is very clearly the worst head coach in the NFL right now. I don't even know if there's a close second.
Oh, jumping on that? No, easily Brandon Staley. I'm sorry, but I'm saying Brandon Staley's
Here's the
versus
thing: at
Ron.
least Brandon Staley is putting his fingerprint on something. Like Brandon Staley's trying to make things happen, and like he's innovative in a way. He's very stupid. I don't think he's a good head coach. But Ron Rivera is like a figurehead, and like he is borderline he is like cooked, man. Like it's like if you like listen to his press conferences, like the yesterday, like completely not making any sense. 1 second he's basically saying like we're a young football team, and that's what he's trying to focus on is like growing a young football team, and then age wise we are in the middle. We're the 15th youngest, oldest, whatever team you want to look at. But you look at that core. Jonathan Allen's almost 30. Deron Payne's been in the league now for 5-6 years. Terry McLaurin is my age. He's 28. Like, the only young guy on the team, really, is Howell. And if you want to say, like, we're trying to grow this young quarterback, but we also know we need to win right now, that's fine. But he was just, like, every messaging is so off. And he did his job of just kind of building the bridge from the Snyder era on. But I think it's very clear after this season, they're moving on from him. I think they're most likely going to clean house. But yeah, I mean, it was just that seemed like one of those games that you kind of look at and you're like, this is about to be, one of those they lose the locker room kind of games, and everything kind of snowballs from here.
Well, Jonathan Allen was not happy after the game.
That was insane.
Though, what's scary for you guys, those Commanders fans, is just like they could blow up your whole defense. Like they could trade all the key players.
I don't think they'll do that, because the frustrating part is the roster is built to win now. And that defense has so much talent on it, there's no reason for them to be doing what they're doing. And there's been over his whole regime. My bad. Getting over a cold.
You're good.
There has been glaring problems. The linebacker play. We've never had really good linebackers. So what did he do? He let Cole Holcomb walk, who's now in the Steelers. He signs Cody Barton, who was a middling linebacker to begin with. And they don't do anything. They just don't do anything to meaningfully address the problem. And then on the offensive line, he lets Trent Williams. They trade Trent Williams for basically nothing. And then, they just replace. They let Brandon Sheriff walk.
Right now.
Yeah, and they just don't replace those pieces in any kind of meaningful way. They let Eric Flowers walk, who turned out to be a really solid guard for us. And, they don't replace it. And I think that's the biggest problem is you continually, he's trying to be the smartest guy in the room, and it's continually not worked out. And when that happens, this is kind of the result. And I don't know what they're doing in regards to, practice routine, but it's not working. This constant, week to week, you don't know if you're going to get the worst team in the league or, a team that looks like they're on the cusp is, just ridiculous. And, the biggest thing in the NFL that what separates, because the margin, honestly, but from a really good team and a really bad team in the NFL is still so small that, the biggest thing that makes the difference is consistency. Who is consistently doing good things on the field. Mm-hmm. And they are the exact opposite of consistent. It's pathetic. I do think Chase Young or Montez Sweat is traded before the deadline.
Hopefully not to the Ravens.
Yeah.
I keep seeing Chase Young to the Raven rumors.
They've been saying that since the beginning of the offseason, but I think Chase is staying. I think he's solidified himself as far as he's our best playmaker on the defense right now, and they told him if he performs that they're going to pay him.
Steelers go get him. I've been pitching the Steelers, go get him, since I heard the trade rumors in the offseason. I was like, go get him, Steelers. Go get him.
You might get Sweat. We'll
Fit
see.
him in.
I can see Sweat in the
I'm
black
still,
and gold.
if we can trade for one person, I'm still pulling for Surtain.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's going anywhere either. Especially
I
after,
don't think so
after
either,
their electric win against the Packers on Sunday.
No, so electric. The 19-7. I was right that it was going to be like a weird score. I said 18-17 or something like that.
Are you talking? What are you
But
talking?
to the
Which game?
Packers.
Oh yeah,
The Packers Broncos.
yeah.
That
Yeah, it
game
was a
was
weird
shit
game.
show. Jordan
Some
Love
serious
continues to look
questions.
like ass.
What's that?
I said Jordan Love continues to look like ass.
Yeah. There's some serious questions around him right now. He's now had 2 weeks in a row where he's just come out looking like, what? Like just every single pass beyond 10 yards is just, bruh.
It's wild how fast the narrative can change, because Packers fans were riding high those first couple weeks. They were like, we got the third legend in a row. Now it's all crashing and burning.
Dude, the crazy thing is his deep balls look incredible. Like when he throws it, it's like, man, that is nice.
Yeah.
And then it just goes right to a defender.
Like, that is a great lead pass for that safety right there.
Wow. And then it's just it's nice high arcing, just goes down right into Patrick Surtain's hands. But yeah, he did not look good. He continually looks like a deer in the headlights out there. Just kind of looks, kind of like the look you would give around the classroom, like to other kids during a math test you didn't study for, and you're just kind of like looking around like, I'm going to bomb this thing. And you're just seeing if anybody else is thinking the same
thing. Teacher catches you and you're like,
Just looking at like the Reed poster just to see if they maybe Yo-Yo Ma will give you some kind of
questions in the test. You're like, oh, if this has that word, that means this word owns that answer.
Anyway, that's how Jordan Love looks out there. Like, it just does not look like he is engaged at all.
Yeah, no, he's struggling. You hope.
So, what did you think of your
can turn
Steelers?
It around, but I don't know. Well, I think it's honestly, fourth quarter made me really happy. Matt Canada actually looked like he could call plays for once in his life. I think they were letting Kenny rip it downfield. Kenny was, I think he was 17 for 25. So he had a solid game for like 230 or something like that. And the running game, actually, there were holes finally. And Najee was actually running downhill instead of side to side for once most of the game. He did have one play where he tried bouncing it when there was a gaping hole in the middle. And I was like, what are you doing? You're a big body back. Be Derrick Henry. Just run everyone over. And Jaylen Warren continues to impress. But I think as a Steelers fan, you got to just realize we're going to get 6 games. In all 6 games this year, we have been outperformed yardage-wise in every game. The other team has outperformed us in yards in every game.
Never seems sustainable.
TJ Watt once again. It doesn't, but we'll somehow win.
It's like watching
if you don't blow us out, we're winning the game.
Yeah,
that is my take with the Steelers now. If you don't blow us out, we're winning the game, because like the 2 teams we lost to this year, Houston and the 49ers, they just kept it rolling from the beginning. They put 30 up on us. Can't compete. The Steelers can't compete if you're putting up 30. I'm telling you that right now. But we'll allow as many yards as possible to every team. But if you don't finish those drives, or if you turn the ball over, we're going to win the game. Like, that's just the thing.
You let them drag you into the mud.
Our high-end talent bails us out eventually every week. Like, it just... Because we have super good players on our... Like, TJ Watt consistently is the best player on defense. People saying he can't cover. Homeboy dropped back. User lurks. Stafford first play out of halftime. Just the most insane break he had on it. I was like, take that to the house. No. He always ends up 6
that was
yards
a
short,
home
it
game
seems like
for the
now.
Steelers too.
Yeah.
There was no Rams fans in that stadium. There never is, but
well, I mean, and you got the best traveling fan base in the league. Like, come on. Steelers fans are always taking over stadiums.
it was good. They're sitting at 4-2 right now. They're right in it, and that division's up for grabs for anybody. And the Ravens think they're going to the Super Bowl.
We might somehow find our way into taking the division. I'm not past that. But
no, I'm not either. I think they're right there.
After this Jaguars game, I think our schedule opens up a little bit to a little softer. Like, I mean, we got the Jags this week, which will be a real test. But I am not past us winning that game because that somehow happens. So we got the Jags, then the Titans, Green Bay. So that's like, we should have won against Tennessee and Green Bay. Cleveland and Cincinnati are interesting. Depends on how. Cincinnati still depends on how Joe Burrow looks to me. You know, he's still weird. But
any team could win that division because Cleveland right now looks like they could also somehow stumble their way with that defense. There's rumors that they think Deshaun Watson is just not playing. Like, he just doesn't want to play. Have you seen that?
You think that's it? I saw that Stefanski took him out of this game.
Well, I guess he's addressing his own injuries. And like Stefanski basically said that he was checked out and cleared of the concussion protocol and that he just didn't play. And there's not really any clarification of that. And I guess that whatever his other problem has been cleared up as well. And it's just kind of there. Like, he's just kind of hanging out.
I'm fine with it.
And, like, if you think about it, like, he didn't want to go to Cleveland in the first place. And he's already got the guaranteed money. He's getting that money no matter what. If it was me, to be honest,
reason to play.
Yeah, I'd be like, I don't know why I'd put myself out there. But, you know, I mean, they're doing what they need to do. And they could be trading for Mr. Jacoby Brissett, Washington Commanders backup, if things really do go south.
Now, let me tell you, though, as a Steelers fan, I do want to see Watson every time we play him because we fuck with Watson so hard. We fuck with all the quarterbacks in our division. Like, everyone's shits on Kenny. But we're the ones, like last year, we had like 5 pits against Joe Burrow. Back-to-back years, we have had pit sixes against Watson and Lamar. Lamar's been a bum against the Steelers his whole career.
Yeah, apparently Lamar now. Did you see LeBron saying that he thinks that Lamar is the MVP of the league? Or he said Lamar needs to get MVP consideration. After 1 week.
Yeah.
1 week. It takes so little. Yeah. There's 2 teams in the NFL that, like, everybody, I mean, there's a lot, but the Eagles and the Ravens, nobody hops on them as being like, they're real after 1 win more than those 2 teams. Like, the Ravens, granted, it was a great win. Offense was clicking. Defense looked unbeatable. And the Lions just looked awful. But it's like, it's 1 game. If there's one thing we know about the Ravens, is that they have a tendency to do this. They will have these massive wins, and then the next week they will come out there and they will lose 15-12. And to say that they're Super Bowl contenders, it's like, show me that you can make an AFC Championship game first, because it's like every time, like you had that amazing MVP season from Lamar, you go into the playoffs, you face a team who knows how to play that scheme, and you can't beat it, and you can't do anything. So until you show me a way that you're going to be able to do that without Ray Lewis on your team or Ed Reed, like, show me that. And I don't buy them. Like, I don't.
I mean, their win, really impressive this week. I was impressed by the Ravens a lot. Really let me down, Detroit, though, because, I mean, they had nothing going for them. The Ravens' defense is legit. I do believe that. Their defense is definitely a top 5 defense in this league.
That
Lamar,
front five needs to be.
Lamar is one of those.
They need more up front.
Solidified a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why the Chase Young trade, I've been seeing rumors about people.
Yeah.
But Lamar is going to do his Lamar thing. Like, Lamar, he had 10 seconds to throw the ball on, like, multiple plays this game.
Yeah.
Like, that's
that
not
touchdown
going to
to
happen
Aguilar was
ever
insane.
again. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he's going to do this some weeks where he rolls out. He's able to buy himself a lot of time, and he's able to dissect defenses. But, like, if you get to him early, he's flustered. Like, that's just how Lamar is. Like,
yeah.
That's how it works.
I also feel like
So I do see it come down.
The Lions may have been feeling themselves a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Like, it just seemed like the past few weeks that they've been getting built up. And it kind of seemed like in the pregame that they were like, Penei Sewell, it was kind of like, it just kind of felt like a team that was like really into themselves, like really thought like, yeah, we are like buying into our own hype. And I think they got a little bit punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
I don't think anything differently of the Lions. Like I said, I do think the Vikings now are interesting. But yeah, I mean, the Ravens, Lamar's going to do his thing. He has games like this, and then he'll get hurt. And then they'll be back to Tyler Huntley. Like, it's the same thing every single season for the Ravens. Like, it's never different. It's have impressive wins, bad loss, make the playoffs, lose. Just miss the playoffs. Like, they're always solid, but it's like, you know, I'm not buying them. And don't listen to me, because I just went
Can't wait till week
3-9. Don't listen to me.
Listen to him. I mean, they're going to make the playoffs. I don't think they're going to make a deep run again. Like, I just can't see that happening until Lamar proves something in the playoffs. Like, every time the playoffs hit, it's just he like is half himself, maybe not even half himself, you know? Like, those defenses just steam up something that completely confuses him.
Yeah, if he wants to win, like, he's got to reinvent himself a little bit. Not reinvent himself, but become a pocket pat. Like, I hate to sound like that guy, but, you know, all these people who are, like, constantly, every time he has a good game, are, like, jumping on everyone who's ever criticized the way he plays because, you know, for whatever reason, it's like, no, he has to change the way he plays. No one has ever said he can't throw it. It's the fact that the way he plays puts himself up for injury, and he throws a lot of dumb passes too. And no, he's not in the same realm as Patrick Mahomes. Like, stop trying to put him with Patrick Mahomes. Like, Lamar Jackson is electric.
Yeah, that one is annoying.
And he's talented.
Lamar is in that second tier, I would say.
He is, but I wouldn't put him. Mahomes. I would take Jalen Hurts over him. I'd want Jalen Hurts more than him.
Oof. That's an interesting one. I don't know if I'd do that. Just because of how Jalen's been playing this year. He hasn't played significantly better than Lamar. And Lamar's
I think if you're looking at, like I look at it from, like, a durability standpoint, and who do I think is going to be playing in the next 10 years?
Oh, durability, probably Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. And also just pure talent. I think the talent level isn't that much different.
But how often can you push until an injury really happens?
He's really strong. That's the problem. Like, he's a big dude. And I mean, I don't want to break out all the stat when they're like, he benches 400 pounds. Like, it's like, or whatever. He leg lifts. Yeah,
big people still can get hurt, though.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, as long as that, you know, I mean, I guess there is the argument of, like, if you put Lamar behind the Eagles' offensive line, what does he look like? But I think Lamar still has that tendency of, like, to run pretty quick. And that's fine with, like, how he, you know, with his speed and everything, but it's not sustainable. And it's not going to get you to where you need to go. And I think Jalen Hurts, especially this year, and I think that might be why his numbers and why he's kind of looked a little bit sluggish throughout, is because he's trying to resist that running, but he still beats you. And granted, A.J. Brown is playing out of his mind this year, like putting up insane numbers. But
no, A.J. Brown's doing wild.
But yeah, I just think the talent differential is slim between the two. And Jalen Hurts has gotten to a Super Bowl. I know that's not exactly a QB stat, but
most people make it a QB stat.
That's just this guy who went 3-9 this week's opinion. Jalen Hurts over Lamar Jackson.
I could see the argument, but if I was building a team, I've always liked Lamar. The only thing I hate about him is the jersey he wears. I was so hyped when he was coming into the league, I was like, this dude's probably going to be fun to watch. He's going to be the next Mike Vick. And then the Ravens were like, with the 30th pick, we're going to take Lamar Jackson. And I was like, God damn it. Now I have to hate this guy.
I like Lamar too. He is really fun to watch. But I don't think Michael Vick never won a Super Bowl. Randall Cunningham never won a Super Bowl. Steve Young did, but Steve Young was able to kind of adapt himself as a pocket passer. I'd say arguably Steve Young was closer to Jalen Hurts. So, I guess that's kind of my thing. All right. Should we cut this one early?
I get what you're saying. We're going to cut it here.
Should we cut or what
else
do we want
is there to talk about real quick?
The NBA kicks off tonight, tips off. So we got the Nuggets and the Lakers started up. Do you have I know you're not a big basketball guy, but do you have a pick?
Nuggets Lakers tonight?
Do you have a finals pick? First day of the season.
Oh, finals pick? I mean, gotta go with the Bucks. Adding Dame Lillard was definitely the biggest move in the offseason for any team. And then, not a lot of people are going to like this because I'm going to take the Suns. I know they don't have depth, but they got a lot of stars. And I mean, I think KD and Devin Booker are going to be a deadly duo if they can actually be on the court together.
If KD can stay healthy for more than 2 seconds, then they're tough. But I think Denver's just still so well-rounded, and it kind of feels like when Golden State won their first, and it was like just the beginning of like a terrorizing of the league. It's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah, but
I think Denver,
those people wanted it. Jokic is like, I don't even want to be here. Just go with the family.
You didn't see his video the other day where he was like, "Basketball's my life." I think Denver goes back, especially if they have Jamal Murray healthy all year. And then in the East, man, there's a clear top tier on paper with Boston and Milwaukee, obviously, in that top two.
There comes the 76ers take.
Now, and the Sixers are a mess, but as much of a mess as they are, the roster's still decent, and as long as you have Embiid, you have a chance to win. Yeah. The Knicks are a sneaky good roster, and they showed a little fire last year. But Boston, man, I think that's going to be a big loss. With they trading Marcus Smart, I think is going to be a bigger problem for them than they think it is. Because he was like the heart and soul of that team. He was kind of the grit of that team. But yeah, I think the Bucks are able to figure it out. I don't think they win. I think Denver repeats. But Milwaukee has to really screw up to. If Milwaukee doesn't go, then it's a failure.
Oh, it's blown up. You got to blow up everything. But just because Giannis, you got the perfect duo, I think, with Giannis and Dame Lillard. Because the Lillard's going to space that floor, and Giannis is just going to be able to attack the fucking hoop. And if they crowd everyone down low, then you can just kick out to Dame from like 30 feet downtown, and he just splashes on you. So they're going to be something else. They could compete.
And they're a good
for the wins record.
Yeah, they have I don't know about that. But
I'm a hot take off the rip. They could compete.
They have the role players to allow them to do what they do. Like Brooke Lopez is like the unsung hero of that
I
team.
love a
He's
good
such a good
Lopez
player.
brother.
And then Chris Middleton, see what kind of juice he still has left. Like he's really good for them as well, especially if he can stay healthy. And
Now you're asking them all to do less too. Like they
yeah,
don't have to
exactly.
do as much.
And Dame is finally playing on a team where he doesn't have to score 50 a night to even have a chance to win. So, yeah, I mean, Milwaukee's going to be a really tough beat.
But then, even when your players are playing bad, you have Dame who can drop 60 at any point.
Yeah. But I do think he's going to drop off faster than people think.
I don't know. See, the thing is about shooters versus like people that rely strictly on like athletic ability is that you never lose like the touch of shooting. I feel like it's more just
Yeah, but
I
like
don't
the
know.
speed and stuff to be able to create your own shot, because it can kind of like you're seeing it with Harden. Like you saw it last year with Harden, like he kind of lost that speed, and like when his shot
Yeah, but
isn't,
Harden's bad.
but Harden was like the best scorer ever, and once he loses that speed, and if his shot isn't sinking, and the threat of him driving isn't there, and guys can just like completely smother him basically without the threat of him driving, then it becomes a whole different story. And I'm not saying that that's how it's going to go for Dame, but he may have to reinvent himself a little quicker than I think people
Yeah.
may anticipate. But that's just me.
Also, with Harden being the greatest scorer, I don't like that take from like people when I hear that because I'm like, if he's the greatest fucking scorer, why didn't he win shit?
That is true. I mean, if you're looking at pure regular season, that dude was like ridiculous. And
I mean, he was ridiculous, but like
yeah,
he had to be. He was on a team with nothing,
yeah.
really. I feel
And
like.
that Houston team probably should have gone to the final.
Yeah, no, they should have. But then Chris Paul was like Choate City, as he does.
Yeah.
And Harden was like Choate City. And they missed like 17 straight threes in that game 7 against the Warriors.
Yeah.
So,
It is a trending thing with Mr. Harden, who knows where he'll be playing this season. Outside
switch
of
it
the
up. I'm
NBA,
taking
though,
LeBron to win his finals.
outside of the NBA, we do have baseball. Game 7 last night. Rangers absolutely tore apart the Astros.
So I'm gonna go with the opposite of whatever you're saying this
I,
next week because this last week had to be like the worst thing of sports for you in
it
like
was
your
awful.
life.
Like I was just
Yeah.
sitting with to the point where last night I was eating dinner, and my mom was there, and she's like, "Are you all right? Like you haven't seen yourself. You like she was like, I don't know, this weekend you just seem like grumpy." I was like, ah.
Don't let it
But
ruin
yeah.
your weekend, Andy.
And then the Phillies play the Diamondbacks tonight, and Game
The
7.
D-bats are probably gonna win because
um,
if the D-bats win, you just know someone above's just fucking with you.
yeah, it's just never ending. And then the Caps have not held the lead in the regular season. They've played now. This is their fourth game, I think, fourth or fifth, and they haven't held a lead in regulation. They scored a goal today in the first period, and it got taken away for interference. But
It's just
but
not
yeah,
going well.
now it's just been I need to get to no not November, and then hopefully things will go a little bit better. But yeah, Phillies play tonight. First Game 7 in franchise history. Isn't that insane? They've been around for 100+ years.
Really?
It's their first
That
Game
is
7
wild.
ever. Yeah. Citizens
That's
Bank
wild.
Park's going to be nuts. I do
Honestly,
fear.
though, this championship series has clearly been like one of the best championship series in a long time. I think.
Yeah. It started out looking rough. It started out looking like
Yeah.
it was going to be just two steamrolls, and then
Two
it's
sweeps and
really
then
tightened up. And I do fear that this Phillies run is starting to feel. It started off feeling like inevitable. Like they just see
yeah.
everything was going right, like they were just killing it. but their style of play was not sustainable. Like as far as just bombing every single game, like just hitting 7 home runs every game.
It's still that way.
Yeah, and
like last night they had nothing besides. I think there was a single that scored that run.
Yeah,
but
Real Muto hit a double
2 nights ago, or 3 nights ago, it was all bombs again. Like and that last game in Arizona was all bombs.
Yeah, and it's just they're facing Fott again tonight, who shut them down last time. It just feels very Sixery. Like it feels very much like you should have ended at Game 6. Like you're going to Game 7 now. Like
Philadelphia sports have just been rough for the past 2 years.
Yeah, and I'm thrilled about the Eagles, how that ended for them. But everything else has been crushing. The most peculiar person in the world because I hate the Eagles, but I like the other Philly teams, and I'm a big Sixers fan.
It's all good.
It's strange. I had one guy say I'm not actually from Philadelphia if I hate the Eagles, which maybe he's right. But all right, is that it? Shall we
we can wrap
off? I need to go eat dinner. I'm starving.
Let's put our
bags back on for the sign off.
Badge back on for the sign off. Remember, when you shame your family like we did, you gotta bag it up.
You got to. Just terrible.
No. So
maybe we just need to delete that episode like it never happened. So we just continue to keep our. We'll say we want
undefeated. Because I gotta keep the Patriots take out there.
Well, you
That's
can
the
keep
only thing keeping that video.
We'll redo the video and we'll pick everything right.
Yeah.
And then we'll just look
Patriots win 29-25.
The Vikings pull off a shocking one. Jordan Addison goes off.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will be back on Thursday for our pick'em. And
yes, we'll be back.
We'll
trying to earn your trust back and your belief in us.
Whatever we pick, you should probably pick the opposite. But
hey, I'm still giving us credit because all year long we've been pretty solid. It's just been one bad week. We can rebound. I'm convinced. I got the Coach T mindset. We're going to put this week behind us.
Hey.
And we're going to grind. I'm going to do some research.
We're like Dion. We're like Coach Prime. You get a few bad weeks in there, but, we're still head up,
Yes.
It's about growing these.
We're slumping, but after this perfect week we're about to put together.
Yeah. Enjoy this now because this is never. Again. This is just.
Yeah. Hopefully we don't have to be back with our bags ever again.
Next time we'll be back with crowns.
And who knows? Maybe next week, if we do have to come back, maybe I'll have no mouth because I haven't earned a mouth.
Now I'm coughing in my bag.
Oh, dog, no. my bag's making my face itchy. We're going to close this down to get the bags off.
All right, let's end this thing. All right.
Yeah, no, if you scan this, it will take you to a photo of my ass. See ya.